Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're going to be diving into Operation Market Garden.
Oh, yeah. This is a good one.
It's September of 1944.
Just a few months after D-Day.
Right, just a few months after D-Day.
The Allies are pushing through Europe, but they have a tough choice to make. Do they advance on a broad front, or do they try for a risky single thrust?
A risky single thrust.
And of course,
Sounds like Market Garden.
it's a Market Garden. Field Marshal Montgomery, he's the one who really pushes for this bold airborne assault to capture a series of bridges in Holland, which they think will allow them to just race right into Germany and end the war by Christmas.
Wow, that's
It's a huge gamble.
a really ambitious plan.
Yeah.
So how did this whole thing come together? What was the thinking behind Market Garden?
Okay, so the basic idea was a two-pronged approach. First, you've got Market, that's the airborne assault.
Okay.
Thousands of paratroopers from elite units like the British 1st Airborne, the American 82nd, and 101st Airborne Divisions, they're going to drop behind enemy lines to capture these bridges.
So they're going to be like stepping stones.
Yeah, like stepping stones.
To get into Germany.
Exactly. They want to create a corridor, almost like a highway, right through occupied Holland.
Right.
And then Garden comes in.
Okay.
And that's the ground forces. It's a powerful armored column. They're going to race up this corridor that the paratroopers have hopefully cleared.
Hopefully cleared.
And then they're going to push into Germany.
So a daring airborne assault followed by a lightning-fast ground offensive.
That's the idea.
Sounds good on paper.
Yeah, it sounds great.
What could go wrong?
Well, you know what they say, no plan survives contact with the enemy?
Right.
And there were some issues, some critical factors that they overlooked that really turned this bold gamble into just a desperate fight for survival.
Okay, so let's get into some of those factors. Let's start with the players. Who are the main figures that we're going to be talking about here?
All right, well, on the Allied side, of course, you got Montgomery, right? He's the architect of this plan. He was known for his aggressive strategies and his unwavering belief in his own abilities.
Okay.
You also have the airborne commanders, Major General Roy Urquhart, he's leading the British 1st Airborne, and then the American generals, Jumping Jim Gavin of the 82nd and Maxwell Taylor of the 101st.
Wow.
These are all very experienced guys, but even they couldn't have anticipated the challenges that they were about to face.
Okay, and what about on the German side? Who are they up against?
So this is where things get interesting.
Okay.
The Allies, they think they're going to be facing these weakened, demoralized German units.
Okay.
But instead, they run right into Field Marshal Walther Model.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Model was known as Hitler's fireman
Oh, wow.
because he was so good at stabilizing collapsing fronts and launching these fierce counterattacks.
Oh, gee.
And right in the path of the Allied advance is the TUS SS Panzer Corps.
Oh, no.
And these guys are a tough outfit. They've got some of the most advanced tanks and weaponry the Germans have.
Oh, wow. So the Allies are walking into a much tougher fight than they had planned for.
Yeah.
And there's also the issue of intelligence, right? From what I understand, there were some pretty big gaps in what the Allies knew about the situation on the ground.
Yeah, the intelligence reports that they based this whole operation on, they were flawed.
Okay.
They really underestimated both the strength and where those German units were.
Okay.
And they totally failed to detect the 2 SS Panzer Corps, which was actually undergoing refitting and reorganization near Arnhem.
Ah, that's a problem.
Yeah, it's a big oversight.
So did anybody raise any concerns about this intelligence before they actually launched the operation?
There were a few dissenting voices,
Okay.
but Montgomery, he was so sure of his plan
Okay.
that he pretty much dismissed them.
Mm-hmm.
He thought surprise and speed would win the day.
So they went ahead with it, despite these warning signs.
Yep.
It's September 17th, 1944.
The skies over Holland are just
Mhm.
filled with this armada of aircraft carrying tens of thousands of paratroopers and their equipment. Can you imagine?
Must have been an incredible sight.
Absolutely incredible.
So let's focus on the British 1st Airborne Division. They were given the task of capturing the bridge at Arnhem,
That's right.
which was the northernmost objective.
And arguably the most crucial.
Yeah, for the whole operation. What exactly was their mission and how did it unfold?
So their mission was to secure that bridge and hold it
Okay.
until the ground forces could get there.
Right.
The plan was to land a few miles from the bridge, assemble quickly, and then race to their objective in jeeps and trucks carried by gliders.
Okay.
Speed and surprise were key.
I bet things didn't quite go according to plan.
You would be right. Some units made it to the bridge pretty quick,
Okay.
but others ran into really fierce resistance almost immediately.
Ah,
The Germans, once they realized what was happening, they reacted fast.
okay.
They set up roadblocks, ambushes, and they started pouring reinforcements into that area around the bridge.
So the element of surprise was gone.
Pretty much.
And the British are in for a tougher fight than they expected.
A much tougher fight.
And as the day goes on,
Yeah.
things get even worse for the 1st Airborne.
It gets really bad.
They're facing this well-equipped enemy who knows the terrain.
And they're fighting like men defending their homeland.
So this is just the beginning of the story.
Yeah.
But it's already clear that Operation Market Garden is facing some serious challenges.
Huge challenges. And we can't forget about the other airborne units.
Right.
Further south, you've got the 82nd Airborne. They're
Yeah.
trying to take the Nijmegen Bridge.
Okay.
It's this huge bridge over the Vaal River.
Mm-hmm.
And they run into the same problem, strong German defenses.
So that Nijmegen Bridge was a pretty important one too, right?
Oh, absolutely. If the ground forces couldn't get across that bridge,
Yeah,
there's no way they could reach the British paratroopers at Arnhem.
right. They're stuck.
And the Germans defending Nijmegen, they were dug in, they had anti-tank guns, they were ready to fight.
So the 82nd Airborne had their work cut out for them too.
Yeah, big time.
How do they approach that?
Well, General Gavin,
Okay.
he's the commander of the 82nd. Right.
He decides to focus on taking the high ground
Okay.
that overlooks the city and the bridge.
Makes sense.
It gives them a tactical advantage, but it means they have to delay the actual attack on the bridge.
Oh, so every hour they wait. The situation at Arnhem is getting worse and worse.
Yeah, exactly.
Every delay is helping the Germans.
Right. The Germans can dig in even more,
Yeah.
bring up more troops, more artillery.
So the British are fighting at Arnhem.
Yeah.
The 82nd's trying to take Nijmegen. Time is running out.
Ticking away.
Where are the ground forces in all this?
So the British XXX Corps,
Okay.
led by Lieutenant General Brian Horrocks,
Okay.
they started their attack as planned.
Okay.
They're pushing north
Mm-hmm.
along that narrow corridor
Yeah.
that the paratroopers were supposed to have cleared,
Right.
but their advance was much slower than they expected.
Oh.
They had constant resistance,
All right.
roadblocks, blown bridges, ambushes.
Sounds like a nightmare.
It was like driving a truck through a narrow alley with people shooting at you the whole way.
And I bet that bad intelligence wasn't helping either.
No, not at all. Their maps were wrong.
Okay.
They had the wrong terrain,
Okay.
and they underestimated how strong the German defenses were.
So they're running into all these unexpected obstacles.
Roadblock.
Minefields,
Wow.
anti-tank positions.
And with every delay, the Germans are just getting stronger.
They're getting stronger, and they're making that corridor even more dangerous.
It sounds like Operation Market Garden is falling apart.
It's really starting to unravel
Yeah, with setbacks and challenges popping up everywhere.
everywhere you look.
But even with all this chaos and all these problems,
Yeah.
there were still some incredible moments of bravery.
Oh, yeah.
Small victories against the odds.
Definitely.
Remember Lieutenant Colonel John Frost?
Oh, yeah. Frost and his men.
Right?
They managed to capture the north end of the Arnhem Bridge on the very first day.
Yeah, I remember we talked about that earlier.
Yeah, they did a great job getting it.
But holding it was even harder.
Much harder.
I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
You're a British paratrooper.
Yeah.
You're holding this tiny section of the bridge.
Yeah.
You're surrounded by Germans.
Outnumbered, outgunned.
You're low on ammo.
Yeah, and the closest reinforcements are miles away.
I mean, that's a desperate situation.
A very desperate situation.
They're just holding on by a thread.
And they held on for 4 days.
Wow.
4 days. They fought off attack after attack.
Incredible.
They knew that the whole operation might depend on them holding that bridge.
So they're buying time,
Yeah, buying time.
hoping the relief force will get there.
Yeah.
Were the ground forces able to break through?
They were trying.
Okay.
They were pushing as hard as they could,
Mhm.
but the Germans were fighting for every inch.
Okay.
Every town, every crossroads, every bridge was a battle.
Just brutal fighting.
Brutal, yeah.
Lots of casualties on both sides?
Yeah, unfortunately.
What about the 82nd?
Yeah.
Any closer to taking that Nijmegen Bridge?
They were making progress,
Yeah.
but it was slow.
Yeah.
The German defenses were still really strong.
Okay.
General Gavin realized he needed to do something drastic,
Yeah.
something unexpected.
What did he do?
He decided to launch a daylight assault
Okay.
across the Wall River.
Across the river.
Yeah. using canvas boats.
Wow.
Hundreds of men
Uh-huh.
paddling across this wide-open river
Under fire.
under fire from German machine guns, artillery.
That sounds incredibly dangerous.
It was very dangerous.
Did it work?
It did.
Wow.
It was a huge gamble,
Yeah.
but they managed to cross the river,
Okay.
establish a bridgehead on the other side,
Wow.
and eventually they capture the bridge.
A hard-won victory.
Yeah, hard one.
But what about Arnhem?
Yeah, by this point,
Was there still any hope for Frost and his men?
things weren't looking good.
Okay.
The Germans had brought in reinforcements,
Oh, no.
including those units from the Tuchte SS Panzer Corps.
Oh, so they're really bringing the big guns now?
Yeah, they wanted to crush the British and take back that bridge.
It sounds like the odds are really stacked against them now.
Yeah, they are.
Any chance the relief force could get to them in time?
They were getting closer,
Okay.
but the Germans were fighting so hard.
Okay.
Every mile was a battle.
Uh,
They knew if they could just hold on long enough, they could turn Market Garden into a disaster for the Allies.
so it's a pivotal moment in the battle.
Yeah,
The fate of Operation Market Garden is hanging in the balance.
hanging by a thread.
The British paratroopers are holding on at Arnhem.
Barely.
The ground forces are pushing forward,
Fighting every step of the way.
and the Germans are determined to win.
They're not giving up.
So what happened? Did the relief force make it to Arnhem?
They almost did.
Almost.
Yeah, they fought their way north,
Okay.
battling through the German defenses.
Mhm.
Every inch was a fight.
Yeah. You read those accounts from the soldiers.
I know.
They're just exhausted.
Yeah, fighting through exhaustion.
They're facing constant shelling. Yeah, running low on supplies.
It's got to be demoralizing.
That must have been awful.
All that while Frost and his men are still holding on to that little piece of the bridge.
Yeah, can you imagine?
How long could they possibly hold out?
It was getting impossible.
Yeah.
They were running out of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Ammunition, food,
Yeah.
medical supplies.
Casualties mounting.
Yeah, and the Germans kept coming.
Yeah.
Relentless.
Tanks, artillery, infantry.
Didn't you say those Waffen SS Panzer divisions were involved too?
Oh, yeah, they were a big part of the German defense.
Those were elite units, right?
Oh, yeah, the best of the best.
With those Panther and Tiger tanks?
Those tanks were terrifying.
Yeah, must have been a nightmare to face those things.
It was.
So even with all their courage,
Yeah.
Frost and his men,
Yeah.
they were outnumbered.
Complete.
What happened at the bridge?
Well, after 4 days,
4 days.
they had to surrender.
Wow.
They just ran out of ammunition.
ran out of options.
Yeah, they fought bravely.
Just couldn't hold on. What about the rest of the 1st Airborne?
The survivors had to withdraw
Okay.
back across the Rhine.
Under fire, I'm assuming.
Yeah, the whole way.
Wow. So Market Garden.
Yeah,
This plan to end the war quickly.
it failed.
What were the consequences of that?
Well, it definitely prolonged the war.
Yeah.
No quick victory.
The Germans were able to hold on.
They proved they could still put up a fight.
The Allies had to rethink their whole strategy.
And it cost a lot of lives.
Yeah. What about the casualties?
Over 17,000 Allied casualties.
Wow.
The British 1st Airborne was hit the hardest.
And the Germans.
They lost somewhere between 7,500 and 10,000 men.
It's a reminder
Yeah.
that behind these big plans and battles, there are real people.
Real people with families.
Yeah. Whose lives are changed forever.
Yeah. It's easy to forget that.
And it wasn't just the soldiers.
No. The Dutch civilians
Right.
caught in the middle,
Their homes destroyed.
their lives disrupted.
A tough time for everyone.
It was.
Market Garden really shows us,
Yeah.
just how complicated war is.
It's never simple.
The human cost of conflict.
And the effects that last for years.
So it failed. But people are still fascinated by it.
Yeah.
What do you think that is?
I think there are a lot of lessons to learn.
Like what?
Well, first, the importance of good intelligence,
Right.
knowing what you're up against.
Don't get overconfident.
Yeah, Montgomery was maybe a little too confident,
Okay.
and you got to be able to adapt
Things change on the battlefield.
all the time.
So Market Garden.
A bold plan,
But in the end,
a costly failure.
we talked about the strategies,
The tactics,
the logistics,
the challenges.
but maybe the most important thing
Yeah,
is the courage of the soldiers
absolutely.
fighting on both sides.
Fighting for what they believed in.
Their stories are important.
They are.
So anyone listening,
Yeah.
if you want to learn more,
Dig deeper.
there are tons of books,
Documentaries.
first-hand accounts,
Amazing story.
Operation Market Garden,
It's a story that makes you think
about war,
about peace.
about courage.
About sacrifice.
It's been a privilege to talk about this with you.
It really has.
Until next time.
See you then.
Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking those tough questions.